Hello, this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and this is the Breaker Press update for August 28th, 2022. Alright, so let's start where I left off with the last video. So, at the end of the last video, I was talking at length about going to Gen Con 2022, and I was super excited. It was going to be my first time going to Gen Con. Was going to be dropping stuff off at the Goodman Games booth. Very excited about everything. Acting as one of the judges for the Gesh of the Multiverse tournament put together by James Posnell Jr. And 2 days before I left for Gen Con, I got COVID. And so I had to make the decision to stay back. Thankfully, Christopher Rick from 2OG Games offered to shuttle my stuff from Milwaukee to Indianapolis so that at least my merchandise made it to the Goodman Games booth. Deeply appreciative to him for doing that. And then also James Posnell Jr. and Trevor Stamper both fielded questions from Goodman Games about the stuff that I sent over, as well as gave me updates as to how things were selling, photos of the third-party release section of the Goodman Games booth, so I could see, oh, that's gone, that's gone. It was really kind and generous of them to do that, and I appreciate them all greatly. And I also want to thank, obviously, all of the staff at Goodman Games and the Goodman Games booth for, offering to sling my wares and get my stuff out into the world. They don't have to do that, but Goodman Games is an incredibly supportive and generous company. So, all of that being said, so I finally tested negative for COVID literally one day before I was supposed to leave for Europe. And so in early August, early mid-August, I got on a plane and got on a plane in Chicago and flew to Sweden, and then again to Denmark, and then went to Germany and France. So I spent at least 36 hours in each of those places. In some cases, like Germany, we spent 3 days. But it was a 10-day trip, and it was a whirlwind tour. And where this applies to Breaker Press Games is that in that time, we saw burial mounds, museums, medieval cities, cathedrals, and I got to visit one of my favorite artists, one of his installations. There is an artist named Thomas Dambo who builds these giant trolls out of recycled wood. Originally stumbled upon his work in Miami in 2019, right before the pandemic, and have since visited a bunch of his trolls here in the United States. But the holy grail troll for me was this particular one in Denmark, where he is from, that is fishing in a lake, and the fishing line is a nice knotted end rope so that you can use it as a rope swing to dive into the lake. And it was awesome. Yeah, I am pushing 50 and standing in line with a bunch of 10 and 12-year-olds in order to swing on this rope and jump into this lake, because I'm a child. But it was a fun time, and I did get made fun of for my awful style on my first dive by two gentlemen from Nicaragua who happened to also be touring the troll. But it's all good. It's all worth it, because it was a fun time. Highly recommended. So that's what I did with my summer vacation. So, but if I was gone for 10 days in Europe and I was laid up for 10 days because of COVID, well, what did I do? What was accomplished for Breaker Press Games in August? And let's break that down. Well, the big thing was, I mentioned at the end of the or during the last video, that I had made a pamphlet this one a summer catalog for Breaker Press that was going to go to Gen Con. I used that as a way to get comfortable with setting up and laying out a pamphlet so that I could do pamphlet adventures. And Cacophonous Bandits is... Oop, I'm going to put it up on the screen. I created a slide. Hey, here we go. And Cacophonous Bandits is an encounter that I've run multiple times. One of the areas near Stennard is the Mangled Hills, and there's references in a bunch of the different releases that we've put out about bandits running rampant in the Mangled Hills. And one such group of these bandits is the Cacophonous Bandits. And so, it's a quirky little encounter. It is currently available on DriveThruRPG for $2. There are physical versions, obviously, as I have one right here. And I'm going to send those out for free to the Patreon backers. First, and then I'm going to make that available probably as an add-on for the different Kickstarters, as well as just making it available. I do want to get them printed on cardstock instead of floppy paper, because I feel like that would make it more worth the $2. Though, I will say, like this pamphlet adventure for Fallen RPG is maybe only the tiniest bit thicker paper than this. So yeah, I mean, I'm not outside of the realm, but I kind of want to make something a little nicer. So especially if it's going to be something that people are going to buy. So, but yeah, Cacophonous Bandits. It's a fun little encounter, and as I said, it is referenced in. They're referenced in the Protectorate of Jenulane, Cleft in the Mangled Hills. I think there might even be referenced in Precipice of Corruption. And definitely in Standard Courier Volume 1. So there's a bunch of different things that would cause you to come into contact with these bandits. And they are also referenced in the Protectorate of Jenulane. So, yeah, cool little thing. And I am planning on doing more of these. I really enjoyed making it. And it is something that I can do, much more quickly than doing a full zine. And sometimes you don't need a full zine. Sometimes you just, like, if I was thinking about, there's 2 roadside encounters in Rabid Dog Zine, and when I phase Rabid Dog Zine out, hey, those are perfect for this format. So that being said, let's talk about the Kickstarters, because I'm sure that's what most of you that are tuning in are wondering about. So the Cleft in the Mangled Hills and Hillwood Camp Kickstarter. Progress has been made on Hillwood Camp. I had Carlos Castillo switch gears and work on this. So, one of the things in Hillwood Camp is there's, similar to Protectorate of Jenulane, there's a series of kind of like training encounters. And one of them is the people of Hillwood Camp sending a prospective woods person to check on the cubs of the nearby bristle bear Agnamara. And so what is a bristle bear? A bristle bear, I wanted to have something that was unique to the setting but still felt familiar. And so a bristle bear is a bear with porcupine quills, because I figured what would be more menacing than a bear? Well, of course, a bear with porcupine quills. Maybe that's already appeared somewhere. I don't know. I don't collect all of the different RPG products out there, but I thought it was cool, and let's show you the full thing. Here, let's go full page, and boom. So yeah, the art was done by Carlos Castillo. It is fantastic. I'm really happy with what he did here, and yeah, I am looking forward to more art from him in both Cleft in the Mangled Hills and in Hillwood Camp. So that is what is going on with Cleft, and Hillwood Camp. As of right now, we're looking at hopefully finishing those up in October, shipping in November, something like that. I don't have hard, fast dates because there's a lot going on. And we'll talk about that more as I get to the wrap-up. Let's talk about the Protectorate of Jenulane, because that is going to be the next thing to ship. And here we have, this is a portrait done by Jamie Jordan. This is going to be the last portrait for Protectorate of Jenulane. It is a generic Protectorate guard. And I wanted to convey the kind of like corrupt and slightly slimy state that the Protectorate of Jenulane is in, and who better as a reference to convey that than young Steve Buscemi / Mr. Pink. And he was fantasied up with a goatee, mustache, and long hair. I think Jamie Jordan did a fantastic job of capturing that mashup of ideas. And yeah, so that is a piece that is going to be in the Protectorate of Jenulane. And let's talk also about the other thing that I mentioned in the last video was that I was getting prototype of the Protectorate of Jenulane card deck. And this card deck has all of the icons for the different paths you can take along the path of the Valorous. They are kind of like a little hint so that people can make informed decisions, because there are along the path there are splits, and you choose which direction you want to go in, and there's a couple of hints as to what lies ahead. But when I was running this online for people during COVID times at various online conventions, like the Cyclops cons, I used these cards that I just made on cardstock in order to run the adventure. And yeah, I drew them up clearly and had Hal clean them up and make them into this size. And yeah, I think they look beautiful. And these decks, when you get them manufactured at the Game Crafter, a sheet holds 18 cards, and so there was additional space left over. So in this prototype, I actually put all of Jamie Jordan's portraits from the Protectorate of Jenulane as cards. But I don't know if I'm going to keep that. I kind of, I was thinking about the fact that I've got like 30 portraits at this point from Jamie Jordan, that maybe I should just do a deck of portraits. That might be kind of cool. That might be something that people would like. Let me know in the comments what you think. But what would replace these in the deck would probably be some of the monsters that you will face, or possibly little scenes from the adventure. I've got a little bit of time to figure that out. But yeah, what would you like to see? The thing with going with the portraits is that there was not space to fit all of the portraits, and so that's part of the reason why, hey, maybe I don't want to do the portraits. Maybe I want to do something else. The other card that is included is this very important scene from the Protectorate of Jenulane. The start of the Path of the Valorous, you get hit with a speech about what you're about to, the test you are about to take, and you get the option to choose between fine boots, a helmet, a ceremonial dagger, a long sword, holy water, or a holy symbol, or 2 silver pieces. And so all of that is depicted on this card to help people make an informed choice as to what they want to take with them into the adventure. So, because they only get to choose, I think, 2 items. It's 1 or 2 items. But yeah, I'm really excited about this deck. I think it'll be a handy thing for people playing in person or online. And yeah, very cool. All right. Other things coming up. this is going to be just like a list of odds and ends. The one thing that I will say about Protectorate, we're getting very close to the end. It'll hopefully ship, end of September, beginning of October, something like that. But I'm still not 100% saying this is what's happening, because there's still things that need to take place. And so let's get into wrapping up what's coming up. I've been a guest multiple times on the Goodman Games Twitch show, the Scrivenery, hosted by Trevor Stamper and Ed Stanek. As it turns out, I got asked to be a guest host for a little bit, and Trevor and I were talking about different things that we were going to talk about, so that through, I guess, a couple of months in the fall, I will be the guest host on the Scrivenery, and I am super excited to do that. I love talking about third-party publishing and self-publishing, and it should be a lot of fun. I definitely have enjoyed every time I've been a guest. So keep an eye out for that. I will make sure to post it on social media when it happens. My friend Jex Thomas created a game that they released over the early summer, called Bump in the Dark. It is Monster of the Week meets Forged in the Dark. So it uses the Forged in the Dark rule set as kind of a basis, but pulls things from a bunch of other different games that Jex loves. And it is a really cool RPG. As it turns out, I had a creepy thing happen to me in one night while I was walking the dogs. It was a perfect mix of different things going on in a moment that I was like, this is really weird, and so I decided to document it. In fact, it will be hopefully a pamphlet an adventure for Bump in the Dark. The first draft is written and sent over to Jex. Jex is looking over, seems very excited about it, and we are going to talk over the next couple of days, or next couple of weeks, I should say, and hopefully make some tweaks and get it out into the world, which I think will be super cool. Jex put a lot of heart and energy into Bump in the Dark, and I would love to support that. So, what else? I mentioned that I put in notice as my retail management position. My last day will be at the end of September, so the next one of these videos will probably be a few days before my last day. So I am very excited about that. I want to put all of my focus back into Breaker Press. I've got so many things that I want to do and that have been pushed aside because retail management really kind of beats you down, and it uses up all of your brain space, and it really slowed me down the last year. And it was something that I needed to do. It made this house possible that I am sitting in, but at the same time, retail management, it's a drag, and I don't really want to do it anymore. I want to make cool stuff for you guys. So that being said, as we wrap things up, a couple of nuts and bolts things. You can support us on Patreon, DriveThruRPG, and also, of course, through the Goodman Games store and our own personal web store. All of those things are linked in the doobly-doo. I will say that because of the fact that I haven't done another Kickstarter because of these outstanding Kickstarters, I felt that was the responsible thing to do, but it also means that the revenue streams are lately have just been the Patreon and DriveThruRPG, and that is enough to almost pay for the studio space that I am currently not using because I'm recording here. But those things are very important. They help keep Breaker Press alive, and I really appreciate those that have been supporting all along. Thank you to all the people that are patrons. Thank you to all the people that ended up buying stuff at Gen Con and followed up by there was a flood of PDF purchases on the Drive-Thru RPG this last month, and so I assume that is Gen Con connected. So thank you to all of you that have found Breaker Press and are doing stuff. But yeah, you are keeping this dream alive, so I appreciate you. That being said, thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. This is Nick from Breaker Press Games signing off. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you again soon.